to another episode of OCB's Natural Edge. Today you get the dynamic duo. We're down one teammate. She's busy making a big move and handling some family stuff. So it's just going to be the PH Diva and myself. Diva, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Sully?
Well, we got a lot to talk about in a short period of
You.
time. We're still wrapping up that Yorton Cup coverage. So today is just going to be shows. We were delinquent in covering other events because just this Yorton Cup thing is how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. And it just seems like it's just been 3 weeks of nothing but trying to get through Yorton. But today I'm going to cover the bikini. I'm going to let Jody cover wellness, and bikini is going to be a big bite. Almost 70 bikini competitors in 7 classes. We had to do 3 tiers, and you're familiar with the tiers. You had them in figure.
I am.
But before we begin, hey, let's talk about a couple of the other shows.
Absolutely. We had on September 13th the OCB Vegas Iron Natural. 70 athletes at this show promoted by Darnella Young. And what flexes in Vegas gets posted on Natural Edge. So let's usher in that footage.
Who doesn't love Vegas? This is a very special show. Nella, she actually took a lot of time and she got with the right people to make this show perfect.
The most rewarding part of this prep and getting on stage today is the sacrifices that I've had to make. It's all about the journey. Enjoy the little moments.
So if you feel like you want to compete or work out, this is a great place to be. It might look scary, but this is kind of like a first time for everybody, and go at your own pace, and everyone's here super welcoming.
Congratulations and welcome to the road.
And Vegas is cooking. We also have Frank Meekins bringing a Conqueror to Vegas next year. And I know Nella's show is just going to keep growing and getting bigger and better. So, hey, Vegas is now an OCB town. But you know what else is an OCB town? Michigan. In particular, Grand Rapids. We host 2 Grand Rapids, Michigan shows. And on September 13th, Sean Jennings hosted his second Michigan show. Again, almost 80 athletes at this one. So that's almost 200 athletes competing in the 2 Michigan shows. So Michigan, time for growth, and some great new pros were made at that show. So let's take a look at some footage from the Michigan Natural.
The energy's crazy, man. Sean does a great job of creating a very athlete-centered event that really showcases your work. So that's why I'm here. It's great. I love it.
If someone was on edge about stepping on stage and you feel like you can stay committed and disciplined, I'd say go for it. This has been an amazing experience.
I decided to start competing because I wanted to prove not only to myself but to others that if you put in the work and the dedication, you can do this too.
So I guess it's time to talk about some Yorton stuff. That would mean you're up.
Charlotte might be known for NASCAR, but we all know that the real horsepower was on that OCB Yorton stage. As we continue coverage of the Super Bowl of natural bodybuilding, women's wellness brought the wow to Yorton stage this year for sure. And if you weren't in Charlotte, you definitely missed a show, but not to worry, that's what we're here for. We're going to move right into our first class of coverage. That is the Women's Pro Wellness Class A. And I will say that from symmetry to sass, these women came to slay. Naturally, of course. Our returning champion from last year is number 182, Callie Arouse. And I happen to know she played soccer growing up, so all of those minutes on the soccer field definitely paid off. Also want to point out number 1, nice fullness. She showed very well, and I'm eager to see how she progresses in the future. Number 186, sharply detailed from that side view. And also standing out to me, athlete number 180. She also has a notable side pose. She's a standout there, but had exceptional posing across the board, really was so polished and so smooth. And number 185, love her physique as well. Check out her cap shoulders. She has some back development. Really important to note that with the wellness category, this is the one category that OCB likes to see asymmetry. So that lower body density and fullness take precedence. Upper body is developed, but to a lesser degree. So those are some of the distinguishing factors of women's wellness. Number 187, I really liked her top to bottom asymmetry. The glutes in her back pose, definitely one of her standout features. And just in summary of this beautiful class and really all of the women's wellness classes, every lineup looked like a master class in proportion. Honestly, this division just keeps leveling up. It may be OCB's newest division, but it definitely is not lacking. So with Class B, every athlete brought her own flavor, from fierce to flawless to full on fire. I want to point out first, number 194. Great fullness on her physique. She is definitely training hard in the gym. Number 196, also very full and dense. Beautiful illustration of that upper body, lower body symmetry, or again, really the asymmetry that we're looking for, as is athlete number 197. Now, athlete number 193, her side pose really made me take note. She was a standout there. And I would say the same for competitor number 195, incredibly full. And the ways that she is dialed in is a deadly combination of that poise, polish, and power that we love to see. So great job there. Number 191 clearly does not skip quad day in the gym, and I would say that her quads are the MVPs of her physique. Note that quad sweep, great from all angles, but especially in her back pose. And athlete number 190, great tie-ins, cap delts, professional presentation, best posing in my opinion. She was so fluid and has such sass too, so I am totally snapping for you over here. 195 looked better and better as this class went on. And then also note that density in athlete number 189. So you can truly see that this wellness category is truly defining what fit femininity means in the OCB. And third and final class, we have Women's Pro Wellness Class. Serious props to this class, since I believe they were on stage for the better part of 20 minutes. So, I mean, the standout in this lineup is athlete number 200. I'm going to just give the spoiler alert out of the gate. It's Chaz. Her quads, to me, are basically accompanied by flashing lights as she walks up on stage. Number 203, Notable for her back, has great conditioning. Athlete number 204, just so dense. Her density really was her standout feature. Athlete number 205, also very dense, excellent detail in that lower body. 199, standout glutes. And if you check her out from all angles, don't miss that front and side pose. That S curve that she displays is second to none. Number 201 totally brought the combo. Also very polished in her presentation. So awesome job on symmetry, size, and presentation, as well as her conditioning. And, you know, they say wellness is about balance, and these athletes totally prove you can have both muscle and femininity in perfect harmony. So awesome job, ladies. Now, the top 3 from each of these classes will go up in the finals against one another, and then you will later see that we have overall. I'm going to cover the class winners. Top 3 from each class. Class A, third place, number 185, Shannon Audette. Second place, number 188, Zenaida Fortes. And in first, athlete number 182, Callie Arouse. Class B, third place, 190, Natalie Payne. Second place, 193, Dominique Stevenson. And in first, 197, Grace Butler. Class C, third place, 203, Kyla Swanson. Second place, athlete number 199, Renee Pickett. And in first, athlete number 200, Chaz Evans. And in this pro wellness overall, you'll see poise, polish, power. The wellness women made it clear this division isn't just growing, it is glowing. Callie, we've already mentioned her density, and it honestly looks like she's worked her legs for a lifetime. Number 193, Dominique, super balanced physique. Note the detail of her glutes, especially in that back pose. And 197, Grace. She is the definition of upper body versus lower body symmetry, sharp lines, polished posing. Renee, number 199, full rounded glutes as well as that quad sweep. 200, Chaz, just incredible detail in her physique, in her side pose. But honestly, every angle is her best angle. Even her calves are super sharp. And number 203, exceptional physique. I hope to see her back at Yorton next year. She was a standout physique to me as well. So in summary, you can see the dedication in every delt and every detail. And let's just say, if you thought wellness was a newer division, the Yorton proved it continues to be a category that is just dominating. And so the bottom line is the Yorton Cup didn't just raise the bar, it sculpted it, tanned it, and walked across the stage in heels. And that, my friends, is wellness, natural, powerful, and unstoppable. And Sully, I'm gonna lobby the coverage back to you.
In Bikini, almost 70 competitors graced the OCB Yorton Cup stage this year at Bikini. And when you think about it, every single one was a champion to get there. So judges had their work cut out for them. Let's start by diving right into Class A. Let's say you had a returning top 3 competitor in Angela Gadbois. She was competitor number 218. Angela had suffered an injury earlier in the year, and she was out of commission for about 5 or 6 months and made an incredible bounce back. She was strongly contested in this class by Ali Langert, who's competitor number 212, and Lily Nayend, competitor number 210. Now, I hadn't seen Lily compete before, but she immediately caught my eye when she hit that stage, and I knew it was going to be a close battle between her and
Angela. Some other standouts, Malika Washington and Lindsay Hamilton, competitors number 215 and 214, also look very, very good. Destiny Knoll was destined to crack the top five, along with Seneca Sanchez. And I apologize, ladies, if I get any of your names wrong, but that was the very strong bikini class A. Bikini class B popped up next, and again, some of the top favorites, Stevie Cardona, Nairobi Nichols, and Laura Lee Zinga. Now, Laura Lee, competitor number 223, I had not seen compete before, but was an immediate standout. That's competitor number 223. This was a pretty difficult class with 9 competitors and first place votes sprinkled across 3 of the top competitors. So very, very hotly contested, and this was our women's bikini class B. Now, what I didn't mention is classes A, B, and C. The top 3 in each, we're going to meet for a tier 1 hose down. We ended up having 3 tiers due to the sheer volume and number of competitors that we had. But Laura Lee, definitely a standout in that class. Next came Class C. And it was great to see Kimber Dela Cruz, who we had featured on Natural Edge a few episodes ago in this bikini class. Now, Kimber, if you remember, has now competed in 3 different categories at the Yorton Cup. She's competed in figure, she's competed in wellness, and now bikini. So, Kimber, come back next year in women's physique and be the first 4-category pro. But Erica Dietz and Chantel Brooks and Dana Gentile all looked amazing. I pretty much knew that that was going to be rounding out your top 5 in that category. Not to take anything away from any of these girls, again, hotly contested up and down, but I knew it was going to be a battle for a tight top 3 in this Class C, actually top 5. And in Class A, our top 5 ended up being Lily in first place, Angela second, Allie in third, who would be moving on to the tier pose down, and then Destiny Knoll and Seneca Sanchez rounding out that top 5, making it a very contested class. Next up in our Class B, you had Laura Lee in first, Alexis in second, Stevie Cardona in third, Nairobi Nichols in fourth, and Anka Searman ended up in 5th place. And that put Laura Lee, Alexis, and Stevie into the tier 1 pose down that would be coming up next. And then in Class C, you had Erica in first place, Chantel Brooks second, Dana Gentile in third. Kimber ended up in 4th, a very close 4th place, and Nicole Dunbolstel ended up in 5th place. In our tier 1 pose down, we did not award placements for this. What ended up happening is the tier 1 competitors came out, and then the top 3 were set aside and informed backstage that they would be moving on into the overalls. And that top 3 for tier 1 was Lily, Laura Lee, and Angela in no particular order. Next up came that Class D as in Delta, and we had Nikki Canterbury, who had just been the runner-up at the pro show, the Viking Pro Show held in Minnesota, and Jessica Kustantz, who was 3rd in that show as well. Carla Bose was also making an incredible presentation up there, competitor number 244, along with Marissa Wells. Alexander Underdown, one of my absolute favorite competitors, was in that class as well. When you got to the Class E, you had our returning champion, Jillian Vaughn. She also won that competition that we were just talking about that happened in the Viking up in Minnesota. You had Lauren Safi and Charity Love also pushing her hard. Lindsay Middleton and Avis Hall also looked outstanding in this class. Now, this was a class of 10. It was the largest bikini class that we had. Actually, we had 2 classes of 10. But this Class E was a battle royale. And again, nobody dominated any of the classes at any time in this competition. There were first place votes spread across top 3 and top 4 in every single class. So everything was a fight to the finish. Now, what we did is we took the top 5 from the class E and the class D, and they were going to advance into the tier 2 pose down. So our top 5 in class D was Nikki in first place and Jessica in second, pretty much repeating their placements from before, but this was a real tight battle between them. Carla Bowes was in third, Charity Young in fourth, and Marissa Wells ended up in fifth place. And this meant Nikki, Jessica, and Carla were going to be moving on to that pose down. Then in our class E, it was Jillian Vaughn, Lauren Safi, and Charity Love in the top 3. Lindsay Middleton was fourth, and Avis Hall was fifth. So that put 6 people into the tier 2 pose down, giving us Nikki, Jillian, Lauren, Charity, Jessica, and Carla. What an embarrassment of riches, because I do believe every single one of these competitors has either won or placed in top 3 in at least one pro event. And then, of course, you had Jillian as the defending Yorton Cup champion. They were out there for quite a long time, and there was even a couple of pullouts. In the end, the top 3 moving on were Nikki, Jillian, and Lauren. Then we moved into our last 2 classes of the day. To class F, we had some real standouts. Olga Ziminek and Jessica Whiting and Sydney Yarnell. You 3 were really battling it down to the wire. Now, I have seen Olga compete a number of times along with Jessica. Incredible competitors. And then you had Angel Benham, who came all the way in from Australia. She was going to be in there battling for a top 5. A favorite of mine, Nugget Messina, was also in this class. Nugget has been around the OCB for a hot minute. She has competed numerous times, has been a guest poser for us, just one of our all-time favorite competitors. Class G was the smallest class. We only had 6 competitors in Class G, but it didn't make it any less competitive than the other classes. Jane Fleischman and Teresa Johnson, 2 competitors that I've grown very fond of. This was Teresa Johnson's last Yorton Cup. I believe this was the 4th or 5th one she competed in. We also had Isabella Ryan all the way in from Australia, along with her teammate, who was featured in Class F. An interesting thing about Team Australia, they have medaled every time they have come here. Annalise Cole and Brittany Nolan Ellison were also in this competition. Brittany looked amazing. Absolutely a standout in this competition. But as you can see, just because there were only 6, the judges still had their work cut out for them. In the top 5, it was Olga, Jessica, Sydney, Abigail, and Angel Benham in the top 5 for Class F. And in G, it was Brittany, Anazil, Jane, Teresa, and Isabel Ryan making a sweep for Team Australia, meaning that every Australian that has ever come from Team Australia in the last 3 years to compete at the Yorton Cup has medaled or won a class or better. So when we got down to that tier 3, you ended up with Olga, Brittany, Cindy, Ansel, Jessica, and Jane, all battling it out for those final 3 spots. It was another difficult pose down, just symmetry galore. Everybody was in shape, and it was just a tight glute and great S-curve fest that we were seeing up there. Every single one of these tiers brought it. But we had to whittle it down to a top 3 to bring him into the overall, which meant that the overall was going to be consisting of the top 9. And the 3 moving on from tier 3 were Olga, Brittany, and Sydney. That gave our overall competition Brittany, Angela, Sydney, Lauren, Olga, Laura Lee, Lily, Nikki, and Jillian. Wow, that's a mouthful. A lot of talent up there. If you look up and down this lineup, you cannot see a weak physique. And here is the most interesting thing. 5 competitors in this overall received first place votes. That's how tight the judging was up and down the panel. These competitors were that close. I knew that Olga was going to be pushing Nikki pretty hard. I knew that Jillian was pretty much the one to beat, and that was the one that the competitors were going after. There were a lot of call outs on this. At one point, the head judge had all the competitors go off to the side and was pulling them up 2 and 3 at a time. This overall took about 14 or 15 minutes. And that's what happens when you have the 9 best bikini competitors in the world all up on stage at the same time. You can see how much movement we had in this overall. The lefts, the rights, the swaps, the backs, the fourths, it just went on and on and on. Every angle, everybody looked amazing. And it was nice to see 2 of last year's top 3 returning in this overall. But what happened in the end? It was newcomer Lily Nyan in third, Nikki Cancelberry in second, and Jillian Vaughn ended up our 2-time Yorton Cup bikini champion. Now, Jillian is our first 2-time Yorton Cup bikini champion. No bikini competitor has ever won the Yorton Cup twice. And we can now say we have our first multi-Yorton Cup champion with Jillian Vaughn. So that was our hotly contested bikini. And boy, if it's any indication of what's coming next year, it's just going to be another lights out show. So ladies, great job. You really brought the heat this year.
All right. And as we wrap up show coverage and introduce next week, I'm excited to share that we have a special guest host who will remain a mystery for one more week while Miss Aubrey is still on hiatus with her big move. In the meantime, we'd love for you to like, comment, and share. This show is about you. The best questions come from the field, so keep those questions coming. And if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram. We are at OCB Natural Edge.
Train hard, be safe, stay natural.